Hello, everyone. Welcome to Progress Junior Golf with Content Live Golf. My name's Steve Jackson, and this is Ian Waterhouse.
Hello, Steve Jackson. What a pleasure it is to be with you again in this sweltering July heat.
We are. The summer has arrived, and eventually we're getting to see some sunshine out on the golf course.
By the way, this side, isn't it? This isn't the sun. This is my little talk. Do you see that? It's like the sun.
Very nice.
But it's melted me already with the heat that we've got outside as well.
I've seen your halo at last. There you go. Yeah, you are a saint. You are a saint after all.
It slips a lot.
Now, this podcast is all about junior golf. It's about the next generation of golfers. It's about trying to get more boys and girls involved in the game of golf. This is show number 15. And this is the last of a three-parter. We're covering minorities in junior golf. We've covered disabled golf. We've covered ethnic minorities. Now we're going to look at girls golf. And we have got some massive interviews for you this evening because we've got former British Women's Open champion Georgia Hall. We've got Solheim Cup star Bronte Law. We've got Girls Golf Rocks, Lauren Spray, and we've got two girls golfers as well on. Ellie Gamble, who we spoke to a few weeks ago. We've got an interview with her. There's a bit more of the interview I did with her a few weeks ago. And Eloise Feely, who was nominated for the 2022 Young Ambassador of the Year at the England Golf Awards recently. So lots of different aspects talking about junior golf. And also we've got Ladies European Tour Pro Thalia Martin as well on. So lots of different aspects of girls.
Just chuck that one in at the end there. Oh, as well, we've got a Ladies European Tour. I mean, what an A-list guest list this is. How have you managed to pull that together? I had nothing to do with it, by the way. It is all that man, Steve Jackson. I'll take my
absolutely, yeah. Well, it helps that having a Ladies European Tour event near me, so I went and knit down and had a chat with a few of them. So use my media credentials and try to get some big celebs on. So right, first things first though. Let's do the latest golf news then. The latest junior golf news. Now, I don't know if you're aware of this, Ian, but this week something quite big is happening up in Scotland. Open Championship. I don't know if you've ever heard of that before.
Yeah, I've heard of it. I think. It's a fairly small event. I think. You know. Yeah. I'm surprised. I'm surprised it's made a bit of news, but I don't really know why.
Yeah, well, apparently they've had 149 of these previously, but the 150th one is supposed to be quite big, kind of thing. But look, we're talking about the Open Championship, of course, at the old course at St Andrews. Massive event. Obviously, junior golfers in theory shouldn't be part of this, but they're making such a big deal about this that there have been not just this week coming up as well with the actual tournament, but also throughout the week and also the last few weeks as well, because. As I'm sure you've been to the Open Championship before, they do a lot with kids now. And I think I noticed Tommy Fleetwood's doing some stuff with and the Golf Foundation. They've been doing some coaching and at the competition, you know, you can obviously go watch the golf, watch the pros play, but you have some club pros who do some coaching with kids, and they have them out there and on the range and the range finders and the putting areas and the chipping areas. It's great fun for the kids as well. But also I mentioned previously, because in the last few weeks or so there's been some events which have been taking place to promote obviously the 150th Open Championship, and they had a 9-hole challenge final there, 40 finalists. I think we've got a photo of someone who played in this, because this young lad here, 11 years old, and he played in this competition. Caden Marsh, hopefully you've got a photo. There he is there. So 11 years old from Style Golf Club in Cheshire. So they played 9 holes. They played the first 4 holes at the old course, and then they played 14, 15, 16, 17, and of course the famous 18th hole there. So he had the opportunity to walk over the Swilcombe Bridge. So fantastic experience for the young.
Just on that, Steve, could you imagine being that age with all the grandstands up as well? And just playing that 18th. I mean, it must send shivers up your spine, mustn't it?
Well, the thing about it is he probably didn't have any nerves whatsoever, because we stand there on that first tee. I mean, it's the biggest fairway you can imagine in the world. You shouldn't really miss it. But I've took photos of guys on that first tee, and they've said that's the most nervous they've ever been hitting a tee shot.
It's going to say be the jitters, won't it? Yeah.
Well, with him, it probably, hey, this is just to smack it as hard as I can, and I can't possibly miss this fairway, which I'm sure he did. So well done to Caden there for playing in that event. Now, another big event which has been taking place this week. Obviously, they've been like having a champions event. Georgia Hill, we mentioned, who's going to be on a little bit later in the show. She was paired with 3 golfers who you might have heard of as well.
Do you want me to put the image up? Because
let's put the image up, shall we? Yeah.
It was, look at that. Oh, my word.
Yeah, so Jack Nicklaus wasn't in her team in her four-ball, but you obviously got Jack Nicklaus there. You got Tiger Woods.
But by the way, stop, Steve. If you can't name those four aside from Georgia, then you should be watching this podcast. Quite frankly,
it's a very good point. The quiz question is how many Open Championships and how many major championships are there in that photo? There's a quiz
I know. Well, Woods has got 3, hasn't he? 2 at St Andrews in the Open. I don't know. I haven't got a clue about Trevino. McIlroy's got 1. I know that. 2014 or something, wasn't it? Nicholas,
but not at the old course.
Not at St Andrews, no. Nicholas has probably got about 28 or something, isn't he?
Possibly. Yeah. I think altogether, all major championships, there's 34 in that photo, so that's pretty good going. Wow. That's some photo. Now the interesting one, the reason why I wanted to put this photo up here is because I want to tell you a story about which I only read this today actually about Georgia, and this was when she was 17 years of age. She won the British Women's Amateur Championship. And on the back of that, she played in the ladies. She won the She won the amateur championship. And on the back of that, same as this year, she played in the women's amateur championship. Now, on the back of that, she actually finished the top player, the joint first as the best amateur, finished level with Lydia Ko. Now, bless them, the authorities they made a bit of a balls up, shall we say, and they thought that she'd lost on countback. So she didn't get the prize, but they looked at the trophy and they thought, hold on a second here, there was a tie 1 year. Oh, it isn't on countback. So they rang her back up to say, actually you need to come down and get your photo taken and pick up the prize. By then she was halfway to the airport to get back down south, kind of thing. So she couldn't go and get the presentation and couldn't have a photo taken on the Swilcan Bridge. So 9 years later, what would you swap? Would you swap the opportunity to have your photo taken on the Swilcan Bridge then, or with those 4 guys that you just saw there?
Oh, with those 4 guys, it's an absolute no-brainer, isn't it?
Absolutely. So she's had her moment, and well done to Georgia for that kind of thing. So also mentioned, so not only Georgia obviously played in this Champions event this week, also British Women's Amateur Champion Jess Baker, she was also playing as well. Sorry, excuse me. She played with Colin Morikawa, who's of course the defending champion. So.
Defending champ, yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, I can tell you, Steve, as well. Actually, they have the 4-hole challenge, don't they? The 4-hole challenge competition, and somebody we know quite well was in the winning team. That's certain Cynic Faldo was in the winning team for that. Wasn't he?
He was correct, yes. And I saw the scores as well. It was, I think it was 200. Level par on the 17th and then 200 on the 18th. So what a score! 600 over 4 holes.
Steve, you sound like you're about to die there. Are you okay?
I am.
Yeah, it was an absolute cracker, wasn't it? And of course, let me ask you a question. Right, it's not junior golf, so we do apologise about this, but it is Open week, so we kind of got to touch on it a little bit. Yeah. Who's going to win?
Blimey, there's a question for you. My hunch is the fact that I think it's going to be. I have no idea. I genuinely have no idea, because I was going to say it was going to be one of the big hitters, but because it's so hard, the ground, the big hit is not going to be a massive advantage, because it's all about ball control, and so therefore it's going to have to be someone who is pretty good with a wedge, shall we say?
I know who's going to win. It's going to be Matt Fitzpatrick again. All right, I'll tell you why. Because you often see players, they go through these. Jason Day did it a few years ago. He was unbeatable for about 8 months. And then DJ was unbeatable for 8 months. McIlroy was unbeatable for 8 months. Fitzpatrick at the minute, of course, US Open champion, isn't he? He had a good result at the Scottish Open as well, by the way. He was 3 under for the tournament, wasn't it? Still finished top 10, maybe even top 5. I wasn't sure total. But this is a man on form right now. And like you said with this course, if you just decide to go, if you do a DeChambeau and just decide to hit it long, you will end up in a lot of trouble. So, yes, you might be able to get a wedge out and go from there. But if your wedge game isn't a game, you're in a lot of trouble. As we know with golf, if you find the fairway, you are more likely to give yourself an opportunity for birdie at each hole. So I actually think Fitzpatrick is a good hitter, very good hitter. Not the longest, but his accuracy is dialed in. And I don't be surprised to see Fitzpatrick maybe in that final group at least come Sunday afternoon.
One thing's for certain, it's going to be a quality event. Now, we've got a story as well, which is just broke. This came through, I think it was yesterday. It came through, but Callaway, they've unveiled a special and unique bag, which is going to be used by 34 players who are playing in this tournament. I think we've got a couple of photos actually of some of the players who are going to be using it there. So just looking at, you mentioned their possible winners there. You've got 3 former winners there. So you've got 3 former major champion winners. You've got Danny Willett, of course, who won the Masters, Henrik Stenson, who's the Ryder Cup captain and also won the Open Championship, and Molinari there. The person in the middle there, or the lady in the middle, she's the person who designed this bag. Now, it's a 17-year-old student from St Andrews called Iona Turner. She won a competition to design this bag. And we've got another photo, but a close-up of the bag here. And it looks fantastic, you have to say. I mean, credit to. I mean, that's a beautiful-looking bag. So if you're looking out for players who are using Callaway clubs, then they're going to be walking around with one of these bags. And some of the players there, so Minwoo Lee, who was the furthest person on the right in that photo, he's actually in the opening group as well. So look out for him hitting there you go, on the right hand side there. And he's in the opening group with Paul Lawrie, who's a big so moving back to junior golf, if you like. He's a big follower of junior golf, helps out a lot with junior golf. So fantastic that Paul Laurie's going to be hitting the first shot. Of course, a former Open champion as well. So let's hope. And also,
he was very nervous, didn't he? He did.
And you don't blame him as well, because there is some pressure there hitting the first shot at the 150th Open at the home of golf there. Now, I did say there aren't many juniors playing. There is actually one junior who is playing. That's 17-year-old South African Aldrich Potgieter, I should say, who won the amateur championship. So he qualified to play, and he will be playing with Stenson. So that's great, the fact that he's got the opportunity to play with Henrik Stenson. Right, let's move away from the Open then. Let's talk about some junior golf then. Actually, we'll stay with the major championships though, because the AIG Women's Open Championship, that's going to be taking place, I think it's either towards the end of this month. They've had qualifying, regional qualifying. Buckinghamshire, Harriet Lockley won that with a 66. Another person who we know very well, Patience Rhodes.
Former Faldos winner is Harriet, by the way, Wales Championship 2020, I want to say. 2020
yes, and I think I think Patience did very well last year in the it was the 24th or the 25th, because there's two girls who won
there was I can't remember. Yeah, that because we had 2 grand finals in one, didn't we? Yeah,
that's it. Yeah, so slightly different. Now the final qualifier for that is going to be at North Berwick, so which as I mentioned on the previous one, and the actual Open Championship will be held at Muirfield this year. So, right, staying with women's golf, another one person who we know very well. England women's team, they secured their second successive European Team Championship, beat Italy in the final at Conway, and the person we know won all 6 matches was Lottie Wood, of course.
Oh, mate, Lottie Wood. Well done, Lottie. Yes, we were rooting for you. Well, everybody as well, actually. Funny enough, I was with Maggie Whitehead last couple of weeks ago at the English under-18s, and what a team, by the way. I'll tell you what, that to the England golf team, don't mess with them, because they are big futures right there.
Yeah. Now, talking about informed golfers, how about this? 18-year-old, it's a name which keeps on cropping up on this podcast news, doesn't it, week in, week out? Matty Dodbury. So, just in the last 2 weeks, he's won the Bromborough Bowl, and then he's also won the Cheshire Stroke Play Championship. Now, at the end of this week, in fact, tomorrow, he plays in the Stockport Salver. That's played over 36 holes. Then the following day, another 36 holes, he's playing in the Wilmslow Crow. So that's on Friday. Now, those 2 events are combined. And if he wins, he will have the biggest smile on his face. And why? Why will he have the biggest smile on his face? You guessed it, Ian. Because he will indeed win, and I'm not joking, he will indeed win the Cheshire Cat.
Oh, great. Yeah.
I am not joking. The competition is called the Cheshire Cat.
I thought you were going to say he's going to earn a start on the European Tour or something. He's going to earn a start at the BMW PGA at Wentworth or something, and he's going to win the Cheshire Cat. Great. No, I'm sure it's. Hey, look, I'm not knocking it, by the way. I'm sure it's quite a prestigious thing to win. I'm down south, so I don't know anything about Cheshire. So.
Fair enough. Right. Okay. Now, talking about men's golf, but it does involve a really, really good performance from a very young golfer. So Derbyshire, Surrey, and reigning champions Gloucestershire all made it through to the men's England golf county finals, though, after they won their regional qualifiers. Now, let's talk about Gloucestershire here, because 20-year-old Joe Retford shot a 9 under par 61 at Minchinhampton, I think it's called Minchinhampton.
Yeah, Minchinhampton.
Right. How about this for a back nine then? Now this sounds like a putting competition. This will be my scores, as in how many putts I have on each hole. His back nine was 2, 3, 3, 2, 4, 3, 4, 2, 4.
Wow.
27 strokes on the back nine.
Wow, 27.
27
what was
shots
it?
on the back
Picture putt.
Isn't it? Yeah. I mean, hey, hats off to him, though. And
That's
Gloucestershire
incredible.
boys, that's some going. That is Gloucestershire
That
boys
is.
as well. They were also successful the previous week. They won the boys tournament, so they go through to the final at Furness. So they'll meet Northern Champions Yorkshire, Southern Champions Kent, and Midlands Champions Leicestershire. So another big event then for them. Actually, staying with Leicestershire, Fraser Jones, who I know very well, he won the Midland Boys Closed Championship. I think he'll probably be playing for Leicestershire actually in that boys final as well. He shot a 3 under par 68 to win that event. Also staying in the Midlands, Hertfordshire's someone we know as well, Adam Leffay from Old Fold Manor. He won the Midland Youth Open Championship. That was at Stoke Rochester, won by 3 shots from Seb Cave, the Belfry. Cave, he won lifted the Berkhamshire Trophy earlier in this season. The girls' prize there went to Cambridge's Elle Mason. Peter Ellis Memorial Trophy, 15-year-old won this one. Walton Heath's Monty Holcomb. That was in the playoff. Another playoff winner. Another playoff winner north of the border. Scottish Boys Under-16s Open. That was at Bishop Briggs Golf Club. That was Finley Galloway. He beat Cheshire's Dan Hayes. Dan Hayes, another person we know. That was on the first extra hole. Those two finished level on 5 under par. And Finlay is a member at St Andrews. So obviously there must be a bit of inspiration there going through him then. So other events coming up. Actually, a couple this week. We've got the Scottish Junior Open Championship. That's taking place at Moneyfeith. Scottish Boys and Girls Amateur Championship. That's taking place. McGregor Trophy. That's at Sherwood Forest. On the other side of the pond, we've got the IMG World Junior Championships over in the States. And towards the end of the month, we've got the Champions of the Champions event coming up in Ireland as well. Staying in this country, entries for the Reed Trophy, which takes place at Lincoln Golf Club, I think. They close today. That closes today. So everyone hopefully has got the name down for that. And just finally, we'll finish with one final result here. Congratulations to Thomas Suggett for his victory on the Northern Junior Golf Tour at Hurlston Hall Golf Club. He won with a net 69, and he holed 5 gross birdie putts, including 4 in the last 8 holes. Now, the reason why I mention that is because he forgot his putter before he got there. So he had to borrow one from the pro shop. So my advice to that pro is the price of that putter is going up triple now because he knows that it works. So
did the pro shop get him to sign it then? Sign it.
Well, either that or I think the pro should have the prize, to be honest, because know if it's his putter, he was the one to hold all the putts, kind of thing. But hey, that's all. But there's a moral in the story there. It's the fact that even if everything is going as bad as you think it possibly can do, there's someone out there and someone must have been shining on him. Someone's looking after him that day. So absolutely right. That's the golf news. Then let's get on with the podcast because it's a big one today. We've been talking about minorities in junior golf over the last couple of podcasts. This one is all about girls golf, and we've got some headline acts on this pro. We have got British Women's Open champion Georgia Hall. We've got Solheim Cup player Bronte Law, Ladies European Tour pro Thalia Martin, Girls Golf Rocks Lauren Spray, and a couple of girls golfers, Ellie Gamble and Eloise Feely as well. First things first, then obviously we're two men here. We know nothing about girls golf, do we? Let's find out exactly what's been going on. Let's try to promote this then. So first of all, let's hear from Lauren Spray, who can tell us exactly what Girls Golf Rocks is, because that is a big thing which has been taking place for a few years now. Let's find out exactly what it's all about.
Girls Golf Rocks is our national recruitment campaign to support junior girls come into the sport. So it's the opportunity for girls aged 5 to 18 to take their first steps into a girls-only coaching opportunity. There's free taster sessions for people to come and have their first ever experience. And then we offer a 6 weeks coaching course, which covers the different elements of the game. And the final session, you get to go out on the golf course. All of the sessions themselves are supported by our Girls Golf Rocks ambassadors. So these are girls that are either already playing the game from those clubs that are hosting the coaching sessions, and they will be there alongside their PJ professional to support you through your golfing journey. So hopefully it's a really fun and friendly way to take your first steps into golf. There's over 200 facilities across England who are delivering these opportunities that started back in May, and they're running through all the way through to the end of September. So still lots of opportunity to take part if you haven't already.
Why was it set up in the first place?
So Girls Golf Rocks was set up to really address the disparity between girls and boys participation. As we know, there's only around 1% of girls make up affiliated membership in England. So we are very much in the minority. So therefore, we wanted to do something to address this. And this is where the national programme came in. So since its launch back in 2015, we had one county in Essex where we first did our pilot. I used the county girls squad in Essex as my sounding board. And they really helped to make sure that we designed a programme for girls. So they were very much as part of that process. They came up with the name, the logo design, even the fact that it's purple. So that's very much down to those girls back in Essex, back in 2015, when we first did our initial sort of sounding board with them. And then every year we do surveys with the girls who are part of the programme, not only just the participants and the parents themselves, but also the ambassadors and the coaches, to make sure that we're still offering the right type of things, and any tweaks and modifications we can make to the programme, we do.
How important is it that you do target girls, and it not just be targeting juniors? Why is it important just to target the girls then?
So from a girl's perspective, when you look into the research, it's girls suffer from the age of around 7, which is really disturbing, of lack of body confidence. So we want to put them in a situation where they feel comfortable to compete and to play alongside other girls. At Girls Golf Rocks, it's not about competing, it's just having fun with other girls, and you've got some peer role models who are going to be alongside you to help you along the way. So hopefully it's trying to create an environment where girls can see other girls already playing the sport, and they can start to think, oh, okay, this is something I can do too, because we're not part of the national curriculum as such, like you may take part in netball, for example. It's really important that we create these opportunities across our range of clubs across the country to introduce girls and give them that opportunity.
Is there a difference between where England Golf would go about trying to get more girls involved, as opposed to where, if they just try to trying to get more boys involved? Is there a specific difference?
There isn't a specific difference. We just know that there's a lack of them, the same as women playing golf. It's the same thing. So we do a lot of targeted programs to support and grow that area of the game, because it has a lot of potential to grow. Because if you look at the population in general, we're 50-50, or actually it might be in favour slightly of females to males actually. So in terms of that, we as a sport want to support everybody come into the sport, but we know that we're underrepresented in the female aspect, and that's sort of the areas that I lead on. And from the girls' perspective, because it is only sort of on average 2 girls per golf club who are in affiliated membership, that's where we need to redress the balance a little bit. So there's a bit more of a focus on that area. So we're supporting the golf clubs to understand some of more of the tailored needs, that if you're looking to recruit girls into a session, these are the type of things that you should look out for.
If there are golf clubs watching this, then what can they do if it hasn't worked previously with trying to get girls and women into golf? What can they do differently, through what you are trying to promote, to do that, to be successful at doing that? I
think a lot of it is down to and this is, I guess, the benefit of the Girls Golf Rocks programme, in the fact that we've got a national platform where you can search a local facility. So you can then go on, easily find your session through what is our Played website, our Girls Golf Rocks booking platform. So you can easily find something just simply through a postcode search. Sometimes it's difficult from a golf club's point of view that they don't always necessarily do a lot of promotion for new people to come into the sport. So for golf clubs that might have a junior section, they might very well welcome new participants to their junior sessions, but they're not always brilliant at necessarily doing that initial recruitment. So through the platform, etc., that we have through Girls Golf Rocks, this is enabling a lot of golf clubs to reach then traditional or non-traditional routes in terms of non-golfing families. So we've seen a massive increase in the number of non-golfing families coming through Girls Golf Rocks, for example, that if you're not looking for it, then you might not necessarily think of golf for the first instance, would you?
Let's say I'm a golf club, we're sat around the committee table or whatever, and someone says, right, we need to promote junior golf. Why, I'm playing devil's advocate a little bit here, but why would they go, well, let's go down the girls' route, as opposed to why aren't we targeting both of them? Or is it possible to target the girls and the boys, if you see what I mean?
Oh, absolutely possible. And some girls will be absolutely fine to go into a mixed session, but some, like I said before, in terms of having like body confidence issues and just not maybe feeling as though as comfortable to do sport alongside boys, it gives them the opportunity to go and do something specifically with girls, a little bit like brownies or guides or anything like that. It's the fact that you can get together with the other girls. I think from a golf club's perspective, the opportunity to go and do both, and then potentially you've got Girls Golf Rocks feeding into your main junior sessions, or whether you want to keep that as an individual opportunity, it offers both. So from a golf club's perspective, if they can do some recruitment and they're looking to offer it out to a local school, for example, absolutely. But just do remember that there might be some individuals in those classes that don't necessarily feel as confident. But if they're in a single sex opportunity, then they probably might feel that bit more confident to take that step into the sport. And that's essentially what we're doing with Girls Golf Rocks. How
can they get in touch with you or with England Golf or whoever to actually be able to set up one of these schemes?
So in terms, if any golf clubs are wanting to, they can email us at girlsgolfrocks@englandgolf.org. You can find the email address also on our England Golf website under the Girls Golf Rocks page. And myself and colleagues will support any new clubs come onto the programme. As I say, we've got over 200 delivering this year, which is our biggest to date. And we'd always welcome new facilities to come on. There's certain criteria that they need to fulfil, and we can go through that with them. So in terms of being affiliated to England Golf, if they're not our partners, the Golf Foundation, we've got some criteria that they need to fulfil there, but they need to be Safe Golf accredited, and they need to have a PGA professional who's also on the Safe Golf register as well to deliver these types of sessions. The ambassador part isn't compulsory, but it's recommended in terms of having some females down at the facility to be able to support those new girls coming in. And we provide training and onboarding, etc., of all the platforms and facilities. So we are there literally to hold your hand and take you through each element of the programme. And we provide lots of different marketing materials to support you within your sessions as well.
And presumably, if there's a girl watching or a parent watching as well, your advice be with them is to look at the same website and look for golf clubs which might be in your area which can do this.
Yeah, literally, if you Google Girls Golf Rocks, or you want to type in girlsgolfrocks.org, you can then literally go through to our booking platform. You can put in your postcode, and then it will literally bring up the local facilities and show you the drive time to those facilities and what offers they have in place for the rest of the year to come, really. So hopefully there'll be a session out there for you wherever you are up and down the country to get involved and hopefully start your golfing journey.
So that's Lauren Spray, who's talking about Girls Golf Rocks. They're in, and they play a massive role down the England Golf and the authorities to try and promote not just junior golf, but girls golf specifically.
Yeah, it's come a long way actually over the last few years actually or so, hasn't it? In fact, it's still quite a young sort of enterprise, isn't it, I suppose? But I know our good friend Aaron Cox is a big advocate of Girls Golf Rocks. He does it up in Darlington, and as you heard there, when you think about it and you actually hear from Lauren there, and she's talking about you just assume that everybody's got all the confidence in the world and that they'll just pick up a club and off you go. But there's a social element of it, isn't there? And there's a lot of people who probably want to play golf, or maybe want to try out a sport, but are a bit conscious of, well, what if I'm rubbish and somebody takes the mick out of me, and that's why this worked quite well, I think. It does bring in a new opportunity for people who perhaps might have wanted to have done it, but didn't know maybe even how to just rock up to a local golf club, because I think that's a big thing as well. There is still a bit of a taboo around golf clubs, and you can't just turn up. They can be a bit stiff and things like that, whereas this is a fun way of getting involved in it, and I think it works. It clearly works,
And also the thing that Lauren, the question I asked her, it can be a standalone thing that a club uses, but it could also work in alongside what you do as far as with boys and jointly as well. So
yeah.
I know that there are clubs whereby as soon as they've said girls golf rocks and they've said, well, what about the boys, kind of thing. Well, there are girls who are not playing for reasons whereby we will hear for some of the reasons from some of the interviews which we've got with. In fact, we'll go straight to one of them now. Let's hear from Louise Feely, who was nominated for Young Ambassador at the England Golf Awards recently. So let's just hear about why that was the case, why she got nominated.
For my junior captain's year last year, so I raised, the total of all three captains, we raised £26,000 for Cynthia Spencer and the junior fund. So I raised, I think, £6,000, so half of it went to Cynthia Spencer and half of it went to the junior fund, just to help the junior section at Northamptonshire County. And then also my captain's year, I just helped with junior coaching, so just helping the pros out. I did that as part of my Duke of Edinburgh as well, but I was always happy to help, and the club just thought I was a good role model to other juniors coming through the field, so that's why I got nominated.
And how did that feel then to be nominated? Because there was only 4 people who were nominated.
Yeah, it was a great feeling. I couldn't believe that I was nominated, and then to get into the final 4 was even better. Even though I didn't win, I was still happy that I got through to such an amazing stage. So it was very good.
Obviously, junior golf then must be important to you, the fact that you put so much effort into it last year. So why is that the case then?
I just think it needs to be a bit recognised more, because I know that some clubs, they don't really have a strong junior section. It's really important because they are the people that are coming through to be the next pros in 10 years time, and it's not really recognised. There should be more people involved in it to help it grow more.
So just give us an idea then about how you started and why you started.
So I actually was giving a set of clubs from a family friend. The daughter didn't want the clubs anymore. I think she got new clubs or something. So I just thought I'd give it a go. Started going to the range, weekly lessons. I just went into it more, and then started competing, and then I got into 18 holes, and it's just kind of gone from there, because now I play every single day. So.
And what age were you when you first started then? What age was that?
So it was about 2018, so I was probably about 12.
And what you say you got hooked? So what made you get hooked, I suppose? Because that's the question which obviously this podcast is about, is just trying to get more girls involved in the game. So just give us an idea about why you got hooked, and perhaps that might give some advice to golf clubs about what they can do to get others hooked.
Yeah. Well, I feel like I got the golfing bug. I feel like everyone kind of says that. Once you start, you kind of get into it more. But I just say it's really good social side. It's really good because you're outside all the time. Obviously in the fresh air, it's really good for mental health. But also it was just something that I just enjoyed. I've met lots of great people playing, and I just say if you're enjoying it, then just see what happens. Really, it just depends if it's for you.
Yeah, you're obviously a decent standard golfer now, but when you first started out, how difficult or how easy was it, if you like, to come to terms with, as we know, golf is not easy. So how easy or difficult was it to come to terms with that?
Yeah, I started off with 44, and then I got down to 19 within this first year. So it seems like I played really well, but honestly, it's been so tough. I didn't find it easy at all. I remember going to junior organisers at county crying because I never thought I'd get down, and yeah, it wasn't easy. But if you want to like be the best golfer, then you've just got to get through those times and just keep practicing.
But obviously,
so it's definitely not easy.
but having said that, I mean, not every young golfer wants to go on and become, a very, very good player.
No,
like that. So
sure.
how, and obviously you working with the juniors at the club, how do you deal with, as someone who can empathise with what they're going through? How can you kind of like deal with someone who you think might want to become a very good player and someone who just might be out there just to enjoy it?
I think it's hard to tell. It depends like how they look at the sport, whether it's just something they like to do on the side, or if they actually want to take it full time and just see if they're constantly committed. And if they're not, then you just don't want to push them into it, because otherwise they just won't enjoy it. Whereas if they do want to make it as a professional, then I think you just got to show them like what they've got to do and how they want to get there, and just create a plan really.
Now we've done a podcast before about parenting in junior golf, and how much of important is it to get, I said the right parenting, but the right advice from parents, and also giving the parents the right advice about how to deal with juniors?
Yeah, I think it's really hard, because I know that there are a lot of parents that can be quite pushy. So that's never easy, because I mean, when that happens with a kid, they're just not going to enjoy it. They're not going to want to take it further. So it's just like, obviously you can't really say too much to the parents, but don't push them, because otherwise they won't want to do it, that's for sure. And yeah, it's just like a bit of a touchy subject really, because there are a lot of parents now that are just like, you've got to go and play, where it shouldn't be like that. If like the kid wants to go and play, then that's great, but if they don't make them, because it's clearly not for them.
And also, as a junior golfer who's been in this scenario, I'm guessing you've been in this scenario whereby you've been out on the golf course playing with another junior, there's been another parent there, and they have been, as you mentioned, they're pushy. How difficult is it for you to concentrate on your golf when it's a tricky environment to be in?
Yeah, well, it's not great, because it makes you a bit uncomfortable, because they clearly are not wanting to do it. I mean, I was in a match, it was when I started really, back in like 2018, 2019, and the girl I was playing with, like, I remember her telling me, like, if I don't play well, like, I'm gonna get like kicked and stuff like that. And it's just like, they shouldn't feel like that. If they don't want to do it, then don't let them do it, because obviously she's not enjoying it and we're getting upset, and it's not very nice, especially when you're trying to play and you're focusing on their game and you can just hit parents. It's just let the kid get on with it really.
I was going to say, you made the point there, you can hear it in the background. Is there, I mean, how trained is your ears can you hear like the tuts and the things like that, and you should hit that club?
Yeah, you can. You can just hear like, oh, use this club and stuff like that. It's just like, I know you kind of want to caddy and you want your kid to get on, but sometimes it's not right.
Okay, what advice then would you have then for golf clubs then about how to promote junior golf and try to get girls golf in particular? What advice would be to clubs?
I'd probably just say they just need to recognise juniors more, and I know there's not that many competitions, so maybe run some more competitions, because I know that also there's like maybe some girls that just want to play with girls, and obviously I know the game is growing, but I mean, let's take Northampton County or Northamptonshire for example, but there's a lot of girls that are dropping off this year, and at the bottom there's not that many girls coming through, and I think clubs need to promote that, because otherwise there's not going to be enough people coming through. So I think there just needs to be more competitions and more engagement, because otherwise people just kind of turn away because there's not enough going on, I'd probably say. So I just think clubs need to just recognise and just consider what's going to happen in the future of golf if it's not like growing. It's quite hard, but like just maybe having some girls group like lessons, or like just putting together some games, just to help them and keep them engaged really, because automatically if you're just starting or whatever, you probably do want to play with more girls rather than boys, because they might be bombing it down there, and so I just say just run some more sessions really, just so they're all getting engaged and they're all enjoying it together. If you look back 10 years ago, it just there was girls playing, but there wasn't enough. So I think obviously now 10 years down the line, it is definitely getting better. Like the prize money for on the LPGA and the LET, it is increasing, which is really good. Because obviously if you compare it to the PGA, it's very different. So I'd just say it's definitely improving, but it's got a long way to go still, and we need more girls playing golf because it does seem like it's still male dominated. I played in a competition yesterday and there was probably like 25 people playing and like 5 of them were girls. So it just shows that there needs to be a lot more girls getting involved, really.
So that's Eloise Feely there, obviously a junior golfer. And I mean, we've had some of the England golf young ambassadors on our show before, and they speak so well, don't they, about the issues, because we as 2 adults, we can't relate to that because we've not been in that situation, or at least we've not been in for many years now. So it's great to hear their thoughts about what was your take on some of the things that she was talking about there.
No, I think she makes some very good points. Certainly at the end there, where we're talking about getting more girls into golf, I think is, and the part we've spoken about this a few times, Steve, about the pathway and how you get in and how you break down that barrier, essentially, of first getting over that hurdle of how do you get involved in golf. And I actually found it quite interesting listening to Eloisa when she was talking about. She never thought she would get that handicap down. She never thought she could get there. And she was in tears at times whilst going to chat to the club pro and chat to her family about it and things like that. And that perseverance and that motivation and that help. And it is there. It is there. We've just got to make it accessible and obvious. And that's why Lauren brings in things like Girls Golf Rocks and things like that. It's getting more and more accessible. And I think we're going to see a change in the next generation coming through.
I'll tell you a story about Eloise as well, and it does bring us into the next video, which we're going to hear as well. Is the fact that I was at a competition whereby after 4 holes, she was 5 under par, gross, and she was playing with a boy and the girl. And it was the county championship she was playing, and the interesting thing about that is I did ask her off air about it, and I said, what kind of reaction did you get from the boy and the girl, kind of thing, in the sense of, was the jealousy, or were they? And she said they were absolutely great with it, kind of thing. And it kind of brings it on board. We've got an interview with Ellie Gamble and also Eloise as well, talking about the issues that they face. And this is something which obviously Lauren mentioned as well, is the fact that the issues that the juniors, girls particularly, face with being in the same type of competitions with boys. Let's just hear about exactly what they were talking about.
Barriers is kind of something, as a female golfer, is just always been there. I think because I've played golf from such a young age, it's just, I don't really see it as a barrier. It's just something that I'm just going to be like, I play on a golf course, and because of the situation I'm in, it's, majority boys, so I go out and, I'm teeing off the reds and they're teeing off the yellows or the whites, and they're like, oh, you're halfway down the fairway. Ooh, like, they're not happy about it. And, I'm like, oh, there's nothing I can do about it. At times, like, I shouldn't really be off this, in front, because I hit the ball, nearly twice as far at times. But that's just the way it's always been.
Yeah, I do get them. The boys are probably joking, but it's like, oh, you're further forward, hence why you shot lower. That's why you shot under par and stuff like that. And it's just like, well, if you go off the tees, and I'm sure if you go off red tees, you won't be able to go and get course record or whatever, really. So you do get those snide comments, but I think they're still going on. They might be joking, but like, they're not really necessary because they probably couldn't do it. So yeah, and I do go off like whites, like woven with the boys and stuff like that, and they're like, oh, are you going to beat me today and stuff like that. So yeah, I just think the tee thing, it should be anyone can go off any tee, and wherever they shoot. Like, there shouldn't really be a tee for one certain person. I think that's why it's good that the generating is happening, because obviously I could go off yellows and put a card in, and my handicap would just be a little bit higher. So yeah, there are those comments, but just have to move on. It's just going to keep happening.
Okay, I have an advantage, but when I'm playing people my age, it's not an advantage, because boys my age add another 100 yards and they hit the ball the same distance. But it's more just being out on the golf course. there was no one my age who was a female. Like, next year, I want to take a gap year. I don't know anyone my age who I can go out and go play golf with in the middle of a week, because there just isn't anyone.
Golf wasn't cool to your friends?
No.
No. Is that something which, just as an overall, is that something which, I won't say worries you, but is that a concern, or should that be a concern to the golf industry as a whole?
Definitely. Like, you want to get people in to play golf, and the way that starts is with the juniors. But, you know, when you hit the teenage years, golf is... my friends still see it as an old man sport. They think it's really weird that I play golf, it's an old man sport, when at times it is still seen as that, but it's really not. It's so much broader than that. But it's just such a shame, because they've never experienced it. Like, most of my friends that I go to college with, they have never picked up a golf club in their life. Although golf itself, hitting the ball, you know, trying to smash it down the fairway is so much fun, it's also about the experiences you make. Like, you know, not only have I made some amazing friends and have learnt so much about myself through the game of golf, but, you know, also it's fun, and you can be different, and like my friends don't think golf is cool. That makes me different. That makes me me. It's just something that you can enjoy, and if you don't want to be tackled by, you know, a big guy running towards you on a field, it's a nice option to be able to spend your afternoon, and you don't have to just play it with granddad or mum and dad. You can find people your age, you know, there are so many options and so many avenues you can take it.
So that's Ellie Gamble, who appeared on our podcast a few weeks ago talking about disabled golf. And we made no apology for putting Ellie on again, because she's a very mature, you know, young.
I really enjoy hearing
from
Ellie.
Absolutely, yeah. And same with Eloise as well. And they bring up some important points there about playing alongside the boys and the kind of things that they have to deal with, which, like I say, we can't really relate to, but I thought they say very eloquently, don't they?
And some of the comments actually that they make there, I'm surprised that they get those comments about. I just wonder if it's a bit of ego coming in from the boys, you know, like, you haven't really beaten me because you're further ahead. And it's like, well, that's why we have a handicap, isn't it? You know, that's the handicap system in golf. You know, I could technically, as a 20 handicapper, I could play against Tiger Woods and beat him because of the handicap system. So, do you know what I mean? And that's kind of the point of why we have a handicap. And with women as well, it's done so. I've obviously been involved with the 2020 Pro Tour, and they were the first to create mixed gender professional tournaments for everybody playing for the same prize pot. And they worked it out. I think the course was 12% shorter for females. And there's very few sports that you have that opportunity, isn't there? I mean, you know, and it, I don't want to get too bogged down in it, but it does come down to the genetics and the simple fact that boys, we're just a bit stronger than women in general. So that's why we have the handicap. That's why we have the red teams. That's why we have different teams, to make it a level playing field and to make it fair. So these comments need to go away, don't they? Where we start getting, well, you haven't really beaten me. No, they have. They've won fair and square. You know.
Well, we're gonna hear from three very, very good players now. Then, so we're gonna hear first of all from Georgia Hall. We're gonna hear from Bronte Law. We're gonna hear from Thalia Martin. Georgia in particular, though, because she has worked alongside Robert Rock and tried to promote junior golf with using the tool. Let's hear from Georgia. Just a short interview with Georgia talking about what she's been doing to try and promote junior golf by using the Robert Rock Junior Golf Tool.
I mean, he obviously runs junior organisation tournaments, and I love just trying to inspire young kids to get into golf. And he asked if I wanted to be a part of one of the tournaments near my birthday, and I said yeah, of course, I'd like to help.
And obviously promoting girls golf as well, that must be particularly important for yourself.
Yeah, definitely. More girls get into the game of golf, the better. I don't really I didn't have that much growing up, so now I can be a good role model for the youngsters coming through, and like I said, Robert's doing a great job with the junior tour.
In the sense that you didn't have that much when you were growing up, what do you mean by that? As in you didn't play too much golf?
No, I mean, I didn't have like that tournament really to play in, and other ones nearby, and I didn't really know any other women golfers at that point when I was like 8 or 9, so I think it's important to get your friends into golf.
How important is it then to just promote girls golf? Because you obviously, Charlie Hill, Bronte, people like that are giving people a little bit of inspiration in the sense that you can make a career out of it.
It's so important because women's golf is growing every year, and like I said, like it's great to do when you're younger, and it's a way to bond with friends and family, fresh air as well, exercise. I mean, there's so many benefits, and it's just most of the time peaceful.
So that was Georgia Hall talking to me a few weeks ago about her experience and what she's been trying to do to promote junior golf. We're going to move into an interview with Bronte Law, but slightly long interview talking about her experience of junior golf, and she talks in particular, and you mentioned it as well there, about the things that she learnt, and actually Ellie and Louise alluded to it as well, the things that she learnt by playing alongside the boys, and she learnt the competitive side of it. I thought it was fascinating. Let's hear from Bronte then, because I think it's a great interview what she says.
In England, I think junior golf is a huge part of the golf club dynamic at every club across the country. I think the strength of junior sections that we have, and the number of kids participating in the sport is fantastic, and I think that it's grown a lot over the last 5 or so years. When I was younger, I was the only girl really at the golf club, so I grew up playing with the lads, so I'd say it probably gave me the competitive side that I have, because they compete for everything. I mean, just throwing balls around a chipping green, it's like you're playing for a couple of quid here and there, and it just taught me a different way of thinking from a very young age, and I just wanted to be competitive with them. And then moving forward after that, it just kind of bled into the whole of the game, and really helped me kind of progress in terms of having different short game skills, and they pick the most crazy chips onto a green that you'd never usually do, and I remember it fondly. I loved being a part of the England golf setup. I think I benefited from it massively, and I hope that they continue to kind of thrive going forward.
What was the balance between having fun and the competitive side, particularly at a very young age?
Well, see, being competitive is fun for me. That's the difference. That is the fun, is being competitive and competing and winning, and that is the fun part. So for me, it's all encompassing. It's the more competitive situation, the more fun I'm having. And I guess just kind of wired a little bit different in that respect.
But that's not a unique experience, and in particular, you mentioned about you were the only girl. I think that's a very similar experience with Charlie Hill, for example. At her home club, she was the only girl there as well, and it was a case of she wanted to beat the boys, and the boys didn't want to lose to the girl.
Exactly, yeah.
It was that same with yourself.
Absolutely, yeah, 100%. And there's 100% that was a contribution as to why we're stood here now, and in that position, because the boys don't mess around. It's ruthless, and I would say that probably contributed massively to the reason why we're able to perform at this level now, on the LPGA and on the LET.
So if there's a girl watching this, or a parent of a girl watching this, what would your advice be as far as to get into junior golf?
Well, the hardest part is starting. Once you start, it's all fun and games from then. I mean, I've met some of my best friends through golf, so even if by the end of it you don't take it down the career path, the friends that you make will be lifelong lasting, and it teaches you a lot of values that I think are important to carry through your life, and learning those at a young age, I think, is something that you kind of get a head start on a lot of other people.
So that's Bronte Law, obviously, and Bronte has a very big reputation for being a fierce competitor, and you can see where that came
she's
from.
Competitive. Oh, you can, yes. Yeah. She likes to compete, doesn't she? But we like that. That's great, you know.
Yeah, but the thing that I like about it is the fact that my experience of Charlie Hill, for example, I brought it up in the interview there, is the fact that Charlie wanted to beat the boys wanted to beat Charlie, and obviously Charlie on the back of that became a very, very good golfer, and I think that it had a very big contribution towards her becoming a golfer. But I don't think it's any coincidence the fact that after those juniors at that club who were friends, 3 of those are now professional golfers. 3 of those boys are professional golfers, and one of the other ones had just won the club championship at another club, one of the most prestigious clubs in the county, just this last weekend. So 4 out of probably about 8 of them have gone on to become very, very good players because they dragged each other along.
Yeah.
And I mean, we spoke to Eloise, we spoke to Lauren about it, about the girls' golf rocks, about trying to just get the girls at the same time. But there is that point whereby you go, it is good to interact as well at the same time, because they can, for that reason, they can help each other as well. It can hinder on occasions, but it can also help, can't it?
Yeah, look, definitely, and I think one thing we should just remember with Charlie Harlan and Bronte, they're good in their own right. There's a chance they'd have probably made it without that competition against the boys, but it's helped, hasn't it? It has created those juices a little bit extra, and maybe in a good way, it gives people a little bit of a chip on the shoulder. Like maybe they feel like they've got to prove more. They don't have to, but maybe they feel like they have to, and it's giving them that edge. You see it in all sports, don't you? You see it in every single sport. I follow Formula One quite closely, and you can just see those drivers who just have that bit extra. And I see that in Bronte, and I see it in Charlie, and I wonder if that's because they have been going toe to toe with the boys.
Now, we've also gone into with Thalia Martin as well, who came through a slightly different route. And the interesting thing with Thalia is the fact that she came from a different sport. So let's just hear about her experience of when she first got into golf and the reasons why and how that helped her.
Started golf mainly as a hobby because back in the day I was into the tennis, and everyone was saying how golf is very good for girls, for women, because you can wear whatever you want, you walk and talk at the same time, so it's very nice and casual. So I thought, okay, I'll give it a go, a bit of a rest than running around all over the place. And then joined Peterborough Milton. Everyone was really friendly, joined up with the junior coaching side that they have. And the county was the one reason that helped me build up or improve my golf game as well. And then you got to meet everyone from everywhere in the country, obviously. And and then that's led me to go to university, because I just loving golf life and how it all operates, and how in the industry it can give you lots of multiple ways forward for jobs and stuff. And then I went to university, and I was the only girl in my year, so that was interesting. And then after a while I was trying to promote this course that I was doing because I loved it and I had passion for it. And then ever since I left, now we're having a lot more girls involved now, and I think in each year group we'll actually have at least about 7 or 10, because normally in year group it's about 20 people, so that's pretty good. We're nearly halving it. So when I first started at uni I was the only girl, and then hopefully I can inspire others to carry on the path that I'm doing. But it's growing.
So that's Thalia Martin as well talking, and she used the word inspire in there, and I think just listening to Georgia, Bronte and Thalia there, I would hope that will be an inspiration, because they're all different. I mean, okay, you've got 3 very good players there, but different experiences about how they got there. The one common theme is the fact that they were the only girls, kind of thing, and that to me could be a little something which the industry needs to work on, in the sense of it shouldn't be a lone experience for them, should it?
No, it shouldn't, but I think things are changing, and I think that was Thalia's experience. I think going forward you're going to see a change, and I think the change is being made. We're seeing it across all sports at the minute. The Women's Euros is on at the minute, and it's fantastic to see it, and it's everywhere, and that's what it needs. It needs exposure. It needs people to be able to see it, that it's possible, that it's doable, and I would be surprised if that is a scenario going forward that the Thalia experience there. I don't think that's going to be experienced going forward. I think people are learning. I think we are learning, and I think it's changing for the better now. Not 2 years down the road. Right now, it's changing.
Now we're gonna finish with, we've got a little interview here with Lauren Spray, who we spoke to earlier, because and this perfect link on what you've just been talking about there, because there's a massive event coming up in the next week or so. She's going to explain exactly what it's all about, and this will be, hopefully, it's going to help not just people who want to go into golf as far as players are concerned at the top level. It could be any kind of golf industry whereby girls can get involved in the sport. So let's just hear about what is coming up, because this is huge. Let's hear about
it. Women and Girls Golf Week. We're back for our 5th year of the campaign. It's our social media campaign to support and women and girls and celebrate all the successes that we have throughout the game. So it's from the 1st to the 7th of August, and we have a different theme for each day of the week. So Monday is all about careers, celebrating the different careers that women and girls have throughout the industry and how they are looking to support and grow golf. Tuesday is all about volunteering, so celebrating the 50,000 volunteers that we have throughout the game, and showing what they get out of the volunteering roles that they have. Wednesday is about health and well-being, so looking to talk about the different benefits that you get from playing the sport itself. Thursday aligns with the launch and start of play for the Women's AIG up in Muirfield in Scotland this year. So that's all about competing, and competing can be different levels of the game. Friday is all about role models. So again, role models can be any person within the sport. It could be your junior organizer, it could be one of the tour professionals, it could be mum. So again, who is your role model and why? Saturday is all about celebrating all the newbies that we're having to the sport, and explaining why they love the game so much and encouraging others to do so too. And then Sunday, we round off with a celebration of the eventual winner of the AIG Women's Open and what we call Join the Club. So all the different communities that we have within the golf industry, we want to celebrate those, and everybody can come in and get involved. So this is all under our hashtag #WhyGolf, and it celebrates the different facets the game has to offer. So I hope that some of you can jump onto your camera phones, do a little video, tell us why you love golf, tag us at England Golf on whatever social media platform you wish to do so, and it'd be great to hear and share about your stories too.
So that's obviously a big event which is coming up, and that starts on the 1st of August. Our next podcast is actually that week, so we'll hopefully have a little bit more information possibly about what's been going on that week. But it coincides with the Women's British Open, which takes place the same week at Muirfield. But as Lauren mentioned there, that's I mean the one thing she mentioned there, the amount of volunteers involved in golf was one thing. You think about how the amount of people out there who can help out with golf, and so something, and she mentioned about people trying to get involved and all that kind of thing. So I think we've covered a fair bit of girls golf there. Bearing in mind that a couple of blokes here.
I think so.
So we're obviously we're going to be back in 3 weeks. So we're going to have an extra week off kind of thing. I'm going to be going to Barcelona. I know you've got some big events coming up, both pro events and amateur golf events, which you're going to be coming. I'll give you the opportunity to promote it. Tell me what you're doing, Ian.
Yeah, well, thank you. We've got the Blackwell Grange Pro-Am coming up, the largest Pro-Am ever in the north of England. I think we've got about 248 players or something, organised by Aaron Cox. Of course, he's been a guest on the show, big advocate of junior golf, as we know. And of course, we are bringing you the England Golf English Amateur Championship, the final live as well up Worksop Way. We're going to be for that one. That's at the end of the month. You can watch it live on Live Sport Now up there. There it is. Live Golf Now, or Contact Live Golf on Twitter, wherever. You can watch it all live and free with us.
And the start of August as well, the Faro series returns as well. We've got the Midlands event taking place, I think, the first week in August. This podcast will hopefully be at the end of the final day there. So we're hopeful. Who knows going to win it, obviously, but let's hope that we might be able to get the winner on, so we can have a chat about whatever subject that we're going to be covering then. Who knows what we're going to be covering about junior golf? As we've said on previous podcasts, we're here for you, kind of thing. So if you have some subjects which you think we should be talking about, there are issues out there which we haven't covered yet, which we know we're going to be covering at some stage. So please get in touch.
Please do comment, and I will say as well, Steve, there is a link in the body of this broadcast, wherever you're watching it, to the Progress Junior Golf website, www.progressjuniorgolf.com. Do check it out. You don't have to type it out. You don't have to. I put the link in for you. Just click it. There you go. Job done.
All right. Massive thank you to our guests on this evening then. So the interviews with Georgia Hall, British Women's Open champion, Bronte Law, Solheim Cup superstar, Ladies European Tour professional Thalia Martin, Girls Golf Rocks, Lauren Spray, and girl golfers Ellie Gamble and Eloise Felix. Just on Eloise as well, just to finish with, well done to her as well, because last week on the longest day, her and 3 other juniors at their golf club played 72 holes in one day for charity. So well done for all 4 of those for doing that. Rather you than me, because my poor old legs, I don't think they can cope with doing more than 2, particularly this weather. You can imagine that there. But well done to Eloise, and also well done for being nominated for the England Golf Awards. Thoroughly deserved as well. So hope you enjoyed the show. We've got some massive shows coming up, not just here throughout August, but throughout the rest of the season and well into the winter as well. So enjoy the show. I hope you enjoyed it this evening, and we will see you soon.
Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.